What's going on, people? What's going on, people? Man, first and foremost, all praises be to the Most High. That's always all glory, honor, praises go to the Most High. Second off, man, I appreciate everybody who support. It's Pilgrims in the Earth. I'm a part-time YouTuber. But yeah, man, you know how I go. I'm up late night, getting some work done. Sometimes things hit me, sometimes it don't. Sometimes the spirit is on me to put out my thoughts or whatever's weighing on my mind at that moment. Um, yeah, man, it's a lot going on prophetically in America, like we've been saying for the last few years. I've been saying it for a lot of years now. On social media, I've been very vocal, talking about the end of America and what it will be looking like in the end days as far as the end of that empire. Because it definitely is an empire. You know, when you read, of course, we always use the Bible because the Bible is not just a what people like to believe a religious book, but it's it has culture, it has history, you know, pr- pr- uh, prophecies, things like that. So you can't just put it in a box of religion. A lot of people like to think that. So if you start at the New Testament and you kind of try to put it in a doctrine, that's what you'll get. But no, it's much more. But of course, we can look at it and see what's going on in these current times. But you gotta be in the know. You have to be led and taught by the Spirit. But anyway, man, yeah, man, a lot going on, man. I was just thinking about all the stuff that's going on. I was bringing out all these months ago. I was bringing out a lot of this information. Of course, we've been talking about martial law for years. We've been talking about martial law since back in the days, man. Since the Illuminati globalist days, right? But yeah, man, we've been talking about. We've been talking. Actually, I did a video on Rex 84, Rex 83, talking about the conflict with Mexicans and you know they locking them up and in some kind of way they would cause some type of civil war, that would want to engage black people or want black people to get engaged into the civil war so they can start calling a lot of these groups extremists or radical or terrorist, domestic terrorist groups. So right now you're seeing that on the cusp, you know, they're trying to get black people engaged into this, confrontation of ICE. Because what they're doing is you have Donald Trump sending out these military or these Marines or National Guards, and they're not just going to be there just for rounding up Mexicans. Those people are not going to go anywhere. They're going to be there for a while, and they're going to be there for other things. There's going to be many riots and protests going on throughout the rest of the United States. Actually, there's videos of civilians who claim that they've been offered to be paid by unknown sources to, cause disruption in the downtown areas and protests, receiving up to like $200 a day. So, that's crazy within itself. I've been promoting people to leave Babylon or AKA America for a number of years now. As you know, I left, a couple times. I've been back and forth, but every time I go back, I can see the frequency or the energy of that place, and it's very dark. So I can see the prophecies coming into fruition of what the Most High says, what happened to that place, and a lot of people. I'm doing this video specifically because a lot of people don't think that we have to physically leave that place. And today I will show proof on why we have to physically leave that place. But yeah, as you know, all these things going on. I don't know what is it about California, man. Los Angeles has been it's been getting hit I'm talking about sinkholes, wildfires, these riots going on. It's so much going on, man. But and I'm hearing people go back and forth like, all y'all Trump supporters who voted for this. There's always a shift of blame. Whether it's Joe Biden or Trump. Everybody's blaming Trump now. I always say, Joe Biden gave Trump the alley oop. They both work. They're in cahoots to destroy America. This is an implosion of America. Implosion starts from the inside. Like you seen 9/11, it was an implosion. Uh, a lot of people can only see, hindsight. They can't see beyond what their eyes can see. You know, it's way deeper than what your eyes can see. I would tell people that like you have to do a little more digging to understand politics and the way the world works, and you know, especially the American government. Presidents don't make the decisions. They're just the face or the mascot of of such. But yeah, man. So you can't save America, and I'm gonna show people that, right? You can't save America, but first, um, the question is, do we have to really physically leave America? Do we have to physically leave America? Let's go to in a Bible, King James version. You see, my Bible is all beat up. Zechariah chapter 2 and verse 7. Zechariah chapter 2 and verse 7. But yeah, man, you got to have these scripts in these last days, you know, especially in these times. Zechariah chapter 2 and verse 7. So we're going to get into some prophetic chapters. That's Zephaniah. I'm talking about Zechariah. That's what I want. Zechariah chapter 2 and verse 7. So we're going to start at we're going to start at verse 5, all right? Verse 5. For I, saith the Lord, will be unto her a wall of fire round about, and will be the glory in the midst of her. Ho, ho, come forth and flee from the land of the north, saith the Lord. Flee, flee, pay attention, flee, flee. Matter of fact, nah, I ain't gonna do that. Flee. Okay, so there, I think flee is self-explanatory. If you want to dig deeper into what flee is or get the synonyms and all that, you can do that on your own time. But I think we know what flee means. Flee is like a haste. Flee is a emergency exit. Let's get out of here. It's time to get out immediately. Flee. Um, Ho, ho, come forth and flee from the land of the north, saith the Lord. For I have spread you abroad as the four winds of the heavens, saith the Lord. So I have spread you abroad. So we know, of course, this is speaking to the children of Israel. Who was spread it to the four corners? The children of Israel. Why? Because of their disobedience. Um, the land of Israel was conquered, and there were different ways of spreading Israel. You had the northern kingdom that was spread it first. I don't think we need to go into the history, but yeah, lastly, the southern kingdom. But our people, of course, I believe that we're the children of Israel. Of course, the Negro people. Um, but yeah, of course, the descendants of the slave trade, the Atlantic slave trade. You had the East African slave trade. Man, people have been getting shipped for years. I'm talking about from India to Asia to Europe to the most predominant slave trades that we know. South America. That was one of the biggest. You're talking about over 2 million people. Then America. We always talk about Northern America, but South America was one of the biggest ones. So yeah, so and that's what I talk about, right? There's really no debating who's the people. Like there's only one set of people that was spread out. When I say one set of people, I don't mean like African Americans. I mean like the melanated people that came from Africa that was shipped throughout the four corners of the earth. There's only one people that we can say, hey, these people definitively have been spread and shipped, from, you know, to different corners of the four corners of the earth and had to serve captivity and are amongst the Gentiles. You get what I'm saying? So yeah, let me read it again. Ho ho, come forth and flee from the land of the north, saith the Lord. For I have spread you abroad as the four winds of the earth, saith the Lord. So these people will be spreaded. They wouldn't be in their homeland, right? Some of them might even think their homeland or the land that they are in is their home, but it's really not. It's really not, right? Deliver thyself. So the Most High is going to come deliver us. No, deliver thyself. You know what people read, right? They'll read in certain passages where the Most High say He will gather you from the, from the corners of the earth, but they don't understand. You can't if I throw you can't trump a scripture with another scripture. The Most High is not the author of confusion. So you can't if I read one scripture that say deliver yourself, flee, 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 flee from Revelation 18 all through Jeremiah, it say flee, flee, flee. So why would the Most High say flee and He really don't want you to flee? you know, because you have some people that say, "Oh, we don't have to flee. We all we got to do is wait on the UFOs or the portals." I think that's pure deception or pure ignorance. Maybe you just don't know no better, because when somebody says flee, that means get out of here. You know, um, and it tells you specifically. We read this plenty of times in Revelation 18. That you don't face. Okay, I'm paraphrasing. Matter of fact, let's go there real quick because I don't want to. I don't want to make it. I want this to be exactly on point, right? That you be not partakers of her sins or her plagues. Uh, so verse 3, and he cried mightily with a strong voice, saying, Babylon the great is fallen, and it's becoming a heaven. That's not what I want. Uh, Verse 4, and I heard another voice from heaven saying, this Revelation 18, verse 4, and I heard another voice from heaven saying, come out of her, my people. So again, he's telling people, come out of her. A lot of people saying, hey, no, that's physical, that's spiritual. That's just the spiritual. You have to come out of her religions, her ideology. Yes, I agree with that. But there's a physical part that you're not acknowledging. So let's say, come out of her, my people, that ye be not partakers of her sins, and that you receive not of her plagues. What is America always referred to, right? Or compared to? Egypt, right? Bondage, spiritual Sodom and Egypt. The the sin of Sodom and Gomorrah, and the bondage of Egypt. When you look at the dollar, what do you see? The Egyptian pyramid, and you see the American eagle. It's just the same ideology. Come out of her, my people, that you be not partakers of her sins, um, and receive that you be not partakers of her sins, and that you receive none of her plagues. What was going on in Egypt? Did they have to physically walk out of Egypt? Yes, they did. You might say, well, but Moses led them out of Egypt. Okay, that's true. Let's go back to Zechariah chapter 2, verse 7. Deliver thyself, O Zion. Deliver thyself, O Zion, that dwelleth with the daughter of Babylon. That's simple. So now we're going to go to Numbers chapter 16 because I want to give an example right quick, right? A lot of people might say, hey, you know, all we got to do is keep the law, statutes, and commandments and wait, right? Because there has to be a separation between good and evil. Good cannot stand in the midst of evil. The Most High always say in the Bible, "Hey, get out the way," because I'm about to call us. It's a reason why He says get out the way. If He say get out the way because a lightning bolt is about to strike in the direction of evil, and you're standing in the midst of evil, are you going to get struck because He told you to get out the way? Obedience is better than sacrifice. Doing what you're told, that's a commandment, right? Right. So following the commandments is fleeing, right? Well, people might say, well, what if we don't have the means? Hey, I don't know. That's between you and the Most High. That's between you and your spirit and the Most High. I believe it can be done for everybody, you know. But yeah, so we're gonna stay at we're gonna go on to 16. Okay. Now Korah, the son of Izhar, the son of Kohath, the son of Levi, and Dathan, and Abiram, the sons of Eliab, and On, the son of Peleth, son of Reuben, took men, and they rose up before Moses with certain of the children of Israel, 250 princes of the assembly, famous in the congregation, men of renown. So these were known men, of following the Most High and being, separate or holy. Verse 3, and they gathered themselves together against Moses and against Aaron. Typical, typical wilderness coming out of Egypt thing. So they gathered themselves against Moses and Aaron and said unto them, ye take too much upon you, seeing all the congregation are holy. So all of us is holy. Y'all doing too much. Give us some of that. Give us some of that light. Give us some of that. That Most High sprinkling. Sprinkle me. Every one of them. And the Lord. Hold on. Ye take too much upon you, seeing all the congregation are holy. So it's too many of us. Why y'all got to get all the glory to be the leaders or the ones that everybody follow? Wherefore then lift ye up yourselves above the congregation of the Lord. So they're proclaiming that Moses, the more humblest one out of everybody, is trying to lift himself up above everybody else. But they all have spiritual kind of gifts or whatever. Verse 4. And when Moses heard it, he fell upon his face. Moses was such a humble man. Every time that they would come with this, he had to been getting stressed out with dealing with our people. So he would fall on his face and he will always petition to the Most High, hey, forget these people. Because the Most High always say, hey, get out the way. I'm about to deal with them. And he will, hey, please, you don't want to make it look like you brought us up out of Egypt just to destroy us in the wilderness. You get what I'm saying? You don't want it to look like that. Verse 5. And he spake unto Korah and unto all his company, saying, even tomorrow the Lord will show who are his and who is holy, and will cause him to come near unto him. Even him whom he hath chosen will he cause to come near unto him. This do, take you censers, Korah and all his company, and put fire therein, and put incense in them before the Lord tomorrow. And it shall be that the man whom the Lord doeth choose, he shall be holy. Ye take too much upon you, ye sons of Levi. So, context. So so Moses to kind of smooth this situation out. He's telling them, hey, wait till tomorrow. And the Most High gonna show you who He chose or who's holy. Since everybody's proclaiming to be holy, and you feel like you can do our job better than we can do our job. So we gonna fast forward. Against the what is it? Doctor Columbus is one thing that hold on one moment. Okay, so I'm gonna fast forward. Yeah, I'm gonna fast forward because there's a lot going on here, but I want to stick to my point. We're gonna start at 23, right? And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, speak unto the congregation, saying, get you from about the tabernacle of Korah, Dathan, and Abiram. And Moses rose up and went unto Dathan and Abiram, and the elders of Israel follow him. And he spake unto the congregation, saying, depart, I pray you, from the tents of these wicked men, and touch nothing of theirs, lest ye be consumed in all their sins. What does that sound like? What does that sound like, right? Let's go back. That sounds just like Revelations chapter 18 and verse 4 to me. And I heard another voice from heaven saying, come out of her, my people, that you be not partakers of her sins. So don't if there's no way you cannot live in the midst of evil and not partake in it in some kind of way. You know what I'm saying? The food that you eat has been worshipped to idols. Y'all don't even know the food that you eating, it's been sacrificed to idols. Or hey, I ain't even gonna go there for the sake of the video. I'm trying to stay on topic, right? But the worships that's going on in the country, the witchcraft, you're wrapped up in that. I don't care how many Sabbaths you celebrate. I don't care how many holy days you think you keep it or how many fringes you got in your closet. You're still in the midst of evil. It was a reason why Abraham had to leave out of Sodom and Gomorrah. You know, of course, people might say, well, he was lifted up by the angels. Yeah, but that's not what the Most High says is going to happen here. That's not what he say. He say, come out of her, my people, that you be not partakers of her sins, and that ye receive not of her plagues. Her plagues. So what plagues is going to be going on? The same plagues that's always been going on. But I guarantee you it's going to be getting some people out the way. You know, people are going to be dropping unalive and them are going to be dying. Can people see or realize the vibration of America right now? People are crashing out at a high number on a whole nother level. You know, the energy of it is just it's nobody cares, nobody's genuine anymore. Everybody is for themselves. People are less fortunate now. The money ain't money in no more. So yeah, so let me read that one more time. Come out of her, my people, that you be not partakers of her sins, and that you receive none of her plagues. Right? Verse 26 in Numbers 16 and 26. And he spake unto the congregation, saying, depart, I pray you, from the tents of these wicked men, and touch nothing of theirs, lest ye be consumed in all their sins. So they gat up from the tabernacle of Korah, Dathan and Abiram on every side, and Dathan and Abiram came out and stood in the door of their tents, and their wives and their sons and their little children. And Moses said, hereby ye shall know that the Lord hath sent me to do all these works, for I have not done them of mine own mind. If these men die the common death of all men, or if they be visited after the visitation of all men, then the Lord have not sent me. But if the Lord make a new thing, and the earth open her mouth, mind you, there are so many what they call them sinkholes. Sinkholes going on in California. I'm talking about the earth is just opening up and houses is falling and man, all stuff going on. Planes crashing. Remember, I did the video, right? About all these planes crashing, right? You just had another one in India that just unalive possibly over 200 people. All these planes is falling. I told people when I was young, right? When I was very young, because the Most High say he showed things in these dreams, right? When I was young, I used to have visions of dreams of planes crashing, everybody running in panic, people trying to get out of the areas, but planes crashing. I showed in the movie. What was that movie? Well, I showed in multiple movies how prophetically they have the planes crashing is symbolism of the end of a civilization or of that particular empire. When you see those planes crashing, I showed that. I showed that. It's man, we in some serious times. Okay, so verse 30. But if the Lord make a new thing in the earth, open her mouth and swallow them up with all that are appertain unto them, and they go down quick into the pit, then ye shall understand that these men have provoked the Lord. And it came to pass, as he had made an end of speaking all these words, that the ground clave asunder that was under them, and the earth opened her mouth and swallowed them up in their houses, and all the men that appertained unto Korah, and all their goods. So the ground opened up, and these people fell inside of the earth. You can't tell me what's going on in America. It's not a storm coming. This is just the tip of the iceberg. A storm is coming, and people need to get out of the way. However, you feel you need to, of course, I'm here. pilgrims in the earth to try to do my small part, whatever the Most High want me to do. I try to show people it's possible. I have a family of six. I've had two children abroad. I'm not saying that can be done for everybody, but who, if the Most High with you, who can be against you? All things are possible. You know what I'm saying? If you got the faith of a mustard seed, you can say to a mountain, move. So that's what I think is the biggest issue is the faith in the system. You have to exchange that faith and, hey, go on a limb. The Bible talk about the he goats before the flock. There's people that have went out through the world and searched out and put on this internet, hey, this is safe, that's safe. You can see or research these environments and see what's best suitable for you. For me personally, I think Africa will be the safe zone. Um, and when I say Africa, I'm not talking about all Africa. Africa is a whole continent, full of islands and different coasts and everything. But hey, do your research, man. Do your research. But America, you will have to physically leave America. I've been screaming this from the mountaintop, ever since I done recorded a video. Actually, one of my first videos where I decided to name it Pilgrims in the Earth. I was in I had went to Mbeya in Tanzania, South Tanzania near Malawi, the Malawi border. It's just called Mbeya. I was up in the mountains. I was actually just watching that video recently, right? So I nearly said, I literally said that, that was my whole point of this channel was to show people, you know, different, how to leave, that it can be done in, different ways. Of course, we went back twice, but it's very possible. There's people going all over the place. Our people going to Southeast Asian countries, like I always say, African countries. Many people are going, to the Bahamas, many different places. But my humble advice, I'll suggest you leave the West. Leave the West because that place ultimately is going to go through plague after plague after plague. And lastly, it will be hit by nuclear fire. You get what I'm saying? So it's going to be a domino effect. And of course, we will all be affected when you talk about the grid, the financial grid. All our banks is connected to America, and a lot of other countries will be affected. But the Most High will protect His. The Most High will protect His. I read to my children or my family Psalms 91 every night. That's our faith builder. These are not just words on paper. This is spiritual battle. This is spiritual protection. So let me go to Jeremiah 51 and 9. So like I was showing here, basically, Moses had to move out the way. The Most High told him, move out the way, because he's getting ready to judge this people. The same thing what the Most High is telling people in Babylon, or the daughter of Babylon, or aka America. He's saying, come out of her, my people, that you be not partakers of her sins, that you receive none of her plagues. If it wasn't possible for you to receive none of her plagues, why would he even mention it? He says it multiple times, flee, flee, flee. Let's go to Jeremiah 51, man. Because I feel like I've been saying this for too many times. But and I don't mean to be, like I'm not patient, but I feel like I've said it so many times. I feel like people might not want to keep hearing it. Um, da, da, da. Let's go down to, okay. We're gonna start at verse 6, right? 51 and 6. Jeremiah 51 and 6. Flee, once again, flee out of the midst of Babylon and deliver every man his soul. Flee. And I'm not against what, well, I'm sorry, y'all. So many people are going on vacations. So many people are buying houses. And I can't show you that, in Second Esdras, where it talks about that. He that has built is like I gotta think of the scripture. I go there though. But a lot of people are putting so much stuff in a burning building. Imagine America's on fire. America's this building. It's on fire. You setting up your nice apartment, oh, we're gonna be here for a while. Everything's gonna be good because we got faith. You don't have faith in the Most High. A lot of people, this is the craziest thing I've ever heard, right? People told me that I lack faith because I left America. Do you know how much faith it takes to leave everything that you've ever known? You know, the country that you grew up in, the familiarity of everything. This is where you know to get food. This is how you know to get a job. This is how you know for safety, comfort, protection. And you left everything. You tell me that's a lack of faith. Nah, it's the other way around. So a lot of people are building, they're building on or building uh in a burning house. America is on fire and you're just building, you're stacking, you're putting all your eggs in one basket that's about to be not. Flee out of the midst of Babylon and deliver every man his soul. Don't that sound similar to Zechariah 2 and 7? Deliver thyself, O Zion. Flee out of the midst of Babylon and deliver every man his soul. Be not cut off in her iniquity. Once again, get out the way. For this is the time of the Lord's vengeance. He will render unto her a recompense. So she's going to receive everything that she's given out. What is America giving out? What has he been giving out to the world? Pain, destruction, death. Do you know America has bombed so many places? I was showing my kids a video of Hiroshima, right, in Japan. That was one of the first nuclear weapons where they just dropped a bomb on a whole city and destroyed thousands of people. They just fire just consumed their flesh. They probably didn't even feel it. So at some point, you have to get back what you've been given, whether it's good or evil. So the Most High is saying it's time for her judgment. Get out of the way. And there are key pointers in Matthew chapter 24 that this is the time. This is the time to get out of the way, because a lot of people say, "Well, when is it going to happen? When is it going to happen?" So you can start packing your bag the day before or something. You have to understand there's going to be things leading up to it. It says Babylon is falling. So it's a chronological thing. You might see wildfires over here. You might see riots and protests over here. You might see prices and job loss and, you know, everything going on over here. So it's just it's gonna a consistent thing. It's gonna be falling until it's gonna be to the final blow. Boom. No more. No more. Um, so yeah. So Babylon has been a golden cup in the Lord's hand that made all the earth drunken. So its influence have literally destroyed the earth. You know, the ideology of it. You get what I'm saying? The image of it. You know, pushing homosexuality, all type of just thing. Everything that's against God, America promotes. Everything. You don't even have regular R&B music no more. We used to have fun and dance, and you used to want to fall in love with a girl. What is it now? It's straight garbage. It only promotes sex, you know, men versus women, things like that. It doesn't promote anything good anymore. The nations have drunken of her wine, therefore the nations are mad. Hmm. Wow. So who's gonna make the nations mad? Donald Trump seems like he'd be a good candidate, right? Right, right. But the nations are mad. Babylon is suddenly fallen and destroyed. Howl for her. Take balm for her pain. If so, be she may be healed. So the Most High is even mocking the fall of it. He's saying, take balm for it, for her pain. Maybe she can be healed if you do that. He's mocking it. We would have healed Babylon. Verse 9. We would have healed Babylon, but she is not healed, forsake her and let us go everyone into his own country. So what about the people that saying, "Oh, this our land. This is where we from." Okay, okay, brother. You know, hotel, whatever whatever you proclaim to believe in, you stay there. You stay there. That's your land. For her judgment reacheth unto heaven. So something is bad when it comes to your front door. You know, he say the judgment reaches unto heaven. When sin had to reach its peak for the Most High to look down, like, hey, it's time to get rid of this place, and is lifted up even to the skies. Man, hey, that's self-explanatory, man. That's self-explanatory. But yeah, man, I'm gonna wrap this up because I'm already almost at 40 minutes. But yeah, man, hey, if you can't get out right now, the best thing you can do, man, is start disciplining your life, separating from everything that's pro America. Separate, even if you got to separate from your families, your friends. A lot of people want that life. A lot of people are amused at what's going on. The demons in them are amused at what's going on right now. A lot of people are going to be getting involved in these protests and all this stuff, but all that stuff ain't nothing but Satan reeling our people in. My number one advice: get out of Babylon. A lot of y'all say y'all don't got no money. A lot of y'all lack the faith. And it ain't easy, y'all. It ain't no easy deal. But I guarantee you, let the Most High lead you. And if you need any advice, hit me up. Send a message. I can send my email, or I can, I'll message back. So if you need any type of advice, I'm here. Um, hey man, pilgrims in the earth, we out.